Do you think he has made the right move, restarting some of these projects, as it were, sir?
Of course, if that is the reason, all administrations tend to complete ongoing projects, unfinished projects are standing. That is what every administration struggles to do to get development coming to the state. So we cannot have abandoned projects scattered all over the place. So if that is the reason, then of course it's right to try and complete all outstanding projects. None should be left untouched. So in that aspect, if that is the correct thing, then he is very right. Whoever embarks on such project is right.
So at the time when we know that the president has even called these two parties together and tried to look for a way to broker peace, we've seen that over time, especially from the part of the former governor, he has always insisted on the fact that there is a political structure already in place in Rivers State that must not be tampered with. Is there anything you have to say about that, sir?
Political structures have always existed. They've always existed. It depends on what extent. All former politicians had structures. And when you leave office, of course, over the years, these structures whistle into other structures, and it's a continuous process. So you cannot say you have a structure and it's permanent and it stays permanent. No. It's a work in progress. It's good. That is why younger ones come out. It's from these structures the younger ones get trained. You know. So I wouldn't say I had structures. Well, I had structures. I wouldn't say when I leave that my structure should remain Ada George's structure. It should be structures grown and developed from the political route, you know, that stretches over the period.
Your Excellency, I'm going to quote the last paragraph of your statement.
Yes.
It reads as follows. As the oldest former governor of Rivers State, I call on all former governors and their deputies to close ranks, come together, and collectively and frankly speak to our younger colleagues in the best interest of the state. End of quote. Other former governors like you, have they reached out to you? Have you sat down with them? Have you people discussed with regards to moving the state forward and dousing this political crisis, Your Excellency?
Now we are hoping that after the first president's intervention in this matter, and there was calm a bit, that things will stabilize. And things did appear to stabilize. But after some time, statements, actions, and so on, things started moving from one extreme to the other. We are hoping that we'll be able to get all our former colleagues together, and I believe that when we do it, which we shall do very soon, we'll be able to talk to ourselves, talk to them, so they must maintain status quo, the position of the law, whatever the law says. From there, we'll be able to. So I was hoping that immediately I would reach out to all former governors, to all my former colleagues, deputy governors, and get all of us to sit together and address our younger ones. These are younger to us, which they should be able to listen to the voice of those who are better experienced, better qualified in this. I'm sure they should pay attention to what we might advise them to do based on what we meet on the ground.
Finally, sir, we'd like to get your thoughts on the impeachment procedure against the governor. What do you think about it? Is it justified or is it not justified?
The purported impeachment of the governor, I could not understand, because the governor and the members of the House of Assembly came in based on the same ticket and the same ballot. And They've spent barely up to 5 months. They started falling. Afterwards, the impeachment procedure was initiated by members of the House. And members of the House who have only spent 5 months, under 5 months as the governor, I wonder how the reasons and the reasons why they are initiating these procedures, I could not understand. I've not been able to appreciate. Gross misconduct. In what way? Under 5 months. Under 5 months. The same election that brought the governor. Under 5 months, they've been able to find a lot of gross misconduct. Well, we cannot condemn until probably we hear them out individually. They should be able to spell out to the Rivers people what those gross misconducts are and to what extent they've taken steps to talk among themselves or to report to their party elders about it. But generalizing and saying gross misconduct is neither here nor there. And I'm not ready to enter into any judgment, but I believe it was too early to use that general pronouncement, gross misconduct, without specifying, notifying the people of Rivers State, the people who voted them into power. What are those? What are those gross misconducts?
Your Excellency, I have one final one. We do know most of the people affected are the residents, are the people of Rivers State since this political crisis has started. What will be your words right now as a former governor and of course as an elder statesman in the state to those residents? How should they comport themselves and in looking out for hope that things will get better?
The residents are comporting themselves well. They've been able to tolerate while demanding to know the reasons why these things are happening. I believe they are comporting themselves, and I will continue to appeal to all residents, not only residents, all citizens, all residents, all those who are dwelling here, living here, abiding here. They should continue to comport themselves in the way they've been doing. And I think they've been doing fine. We will want to encourage them in all ways while giving us enough time and making those combatants to appreciate that other people are watching, other people are looking, other people are also assessing them by the way they think they assess other people. The electorates, the citizens, the residents of this state, and not only in the state, and the country as a whole, also assessing their performances and noting their reasons for their actions. And we continue to appeal to them to be patient, to give peace a chance, and to make sure that whatever they do, whatever action is taken in this country may affect the whole nation in one way or the other, and appeal for restraint to each and every one of them.
So I'm sure you are aware that the House of Assembly has been demolished. It was demolished yesterday on the orders of the state government. In fact, the governor led the convoy of trucks and bulldozers by himself to demolish the House of Assembly, allegedly on the advice of a structural engineer or structural engineering company who say it is no longer habitable. But the other side have said that is wicked, that is crass, that is a heartless act against them. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that action yesterday.
Well, from what I read, they said based on the recommendations of experts, they recommended for modifications or modernizing or rebuilding the House of Assembly. Unfortunately, these things have come because we had earlier, sometime in October 30th or so, that the house was set on fire, sometime, and the structures were affected. Based on that, the structural engineers were invited to inspect the structures of the house. And it was based on that. So the origin of this destruction comes from also the initial actions taken by the members. That is why every person in this action must be cautious and mindful of the actions. Probably if at that time that initial action was taken, I don't know who bombed, who set ablaze the House of Assembly, that initial action wouldn't have been taken, and this recent action probably wouldn't have arisen, because what would have happened was that there wouldn't have been any need for engineers to be invited, for them to make recommendations, for them to see whether the structures of the house could stand the house. There would have been peace. But one action leads to the other. So that is why every person, we've been advising every person to be cautious in this instance. One action will not lead to the other and precipitate major crises that will affect the development, the smooth running of the state. They are they are on the scene now. It doesn't mean that they will stay there forever or beyond their regulated time. Others will take over. And these structures we built over the years remains as a memorial in the state. And whatever we have, we should be able to retain and keep. We have a lot of areas where we send development, so whatever action you as an individual, no matter what justifications you claim you have, will affect, will call for probably reactions, and will lead to non-expected ends and results. So we think that we should be cautious. We all are not happy with the present situation, and we must, by the grace of God, bring it to an end. Bring it to their understanding that they will have to stop and come to the table and have peace and trust the state.
Finally, so this is the last question.